Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 6 of the online training. This is the last session that we'll be doing here in the spring. So hopefully if there's any questions to the spring planning, we can save them to the end. Today I'll be doing some of the presentation, and Hans Christian will also be talking through some of the features. So we're going to start off talking about the new way in which you record a field on the robot. This is with the new release that was released earlier this week. We've changed it slightly, so yeah, Hans Christian's just going to walk you through it and show you how that's done. Then I'm going to go through some of the advanced starts that the robot does. These have been on the robot for a little while, but I just wanted to kind of go over them so that everyone was clear what they did. I'm then going to walk through an example we did in some fields here in Aarhus, where we were looking at the impact of different types of turns and different types of optimization, looking at the overall savings you can get by how you create your plans. And then finally, I'm going to talk about some interesting plans that some of our other users have created. And I've got an example I can walk through as well to show how you can make some multi-directional fields and things like that. Okay, so we're going to start with the field recording, and for that I'm going to pass over to Hans Christian.
Yeah, thank you, Garrett. So first of all, I will say we updated quite a few robots now, and if there are still some of you lacking an update, then please just reach out to me and we can sort out a time for doing it. Because it's not all robots that are getting a pop-up for the update, but the ones that's not getting it, then please just contact me and we can support you on that. Just to let you know, so you get all these functionalities. Yeah. As Garrett, he said, we changed something in how we're recording fields. I don't know how many of you has been using it, but before or previous, it used to be like that if you recorded a field, you need to record the obstacles and AB line kind of in one bundle. What we kind of changed now is you can do it individual. I'll just walk through the slides here and then I'll show it to you. But this is kind of the same front as you got previous, where you select the farm or add a farm, and you can enter a field name. And if you skip the slide, okay. Or can I do it?
Nope.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
And then you can select or add a field here, and then you can press start recording. And if you go to the next slide, Garrett. So you get this menu, and then when you recorded your field, you press finish field. Next, Garrett. Save recording. Next again. Then you're getting this pop-up here, and you'll see a circle behind. It's kind of uploading the field, and then when it's done uploading, then you can just press the cross, and then the field is uploaded. And this is where it's a little bit different from what it used to be. If you go to the next, Garrett. Then you actually need to go back and find that field you're just recording if you want to record an obstacle or you want to record an AB line. Previously, you need to walk through all the steps at once, but now you can actually go back and find the field, and then you can add an obstacle or add an AB line to that field. You can also take another field where you can add an obstacle or an AB line. Yeah, we know that's been requested previously that you had these options, so that's one of what's going to be available here. Take next. Yeah, so you get these options here: record obstacle, record AB line, and next, Garrett, again. And then when you recorded the AB line or the obstacle, you press save, and then you're actually getting the same image that it's uploading it, and then it's already in the plan. So so it's actually to divide it a little bit more up, so you don't have to do everything in one step, because you often, or sometimes you have the field boundary where you actually like to add an obstacle, you would like to add an AB line. That's a possibility to do right now, as it is with this new functionalities. So yeah, it's a small update, but something that will help some of you for sure.
Yeah. Also, when you if you've already got an existing field and you record an obstacle in it, it will create a new field in your system. This is so that you don't get confused with driving your old plans that didn't have that obstacle in. So once you record an obstacle, it'll create a new field with that obstacle in. The same way on the web, when you add obstacles to a field, it creates a new field with those obstacles in it. This is so that we can always create safe plans that aren't going to go through that obstacle.
Yes.
Cool. I'm then going to go on to talk about the advanced starting options. Again, this is a new feature on the terminal. So when you're starting your plans, when you've chosen your plan, you can choose to press advanced options. And here there are a number of options for starting, for the operation, and for ending. So for starting, you can either restart or continue the operation. You can restart the row. Now, if you're in a row and you've paused it halfway along, restarting the row will just start the work from where you are. So if you've stopped halfway down a row and you've actually, because you've missed, say, the last 10 meters, you can just back up and press restart row, and it won't drive back to the beginning of the row. It'll start from where it is and start from there. You can also skip to the next row, or you can skip any number of rows backwards or forwards. So if you're halfway through a field and you realize the seeder ran out, you can skip back 3 rows if you need to and continue the plan from there. Next, we have the operation. So the standard, again, is to complete the plan, but you also might want to limit the number of rows or limit the number of limit the area. So if you limit the rows to, say, 3 rows, it'll work the next 3 rows and then finish. You can also do that based on area. This is quite handy, again, for if you're doing an operation such as seeding, where you know you've got enough seed in the tank for, say, 5 rows or, say, 1 hectare. You can limit it here so that you know the robot's only going to do that amount of work and it won't continue past that. Then we've got ending. So the normal way of ending is when it finishes the plan, it comes back to the gate, or stops at the end of the road, depending on what the plan was. So here you can actually set it to stop at the end of the row if you want it to, or you can get it to return here. So if you're starting the robot from, say, halfway down the field in the headland, and that's where you want the robot to come back to refill it with seed, even if the gates are at either end of the field, you can press it to start from here and return back to here as well. So that should give you a few more options. The idea here being that once you have your plan, you still get some options then to modify it when you're ready to run the plan. And you don't have to create lots of small plans. You can just create one plan for the field and then carry it out as you want to. So I'm just going to kind of go through a few of these setups to kind of go over in detail what they are. So this is the first plan. This is for one of our fields here that we use a lot for testing. This is actually the field that Ola was in last time, where he was showing the robot running in between his bushes here. So here we've got a plan that's working the rows alongside the bushes. So this is a full plan. As you can see, the red is when it's not working and the green is when it's working. So it's covering all the rows that we want in this plan. However, if we chose to start it with a limited area, so we just wanted to cover 0.4 hectares. So here you can see that it creates the plan, it drives it, and it finishes at the end of this row when it's covered the first 0.4 hectares of this plan. Another way is you might want to limit the amount of rows. So here we said, well, what happens if we limit the rows to 3? So here it's just working the first 3 rows of the plans, and then we put return to gate. So it's working the first 3 rows of the plans, and then returning back to the gate. How about then if we put skipped rows? We'll say we'd already worked the first 2 rows of the plan, and we only wanted to work the next 3. So we might have, if it was a seeding operation, the first time we might have run this plan saying only work the first 2 rows. So we've worked the first 2 rows, and now we're saying, well, then work the next 3 rows. So we're working. So we're starting here and going in, working the rows, and then coming back to the gate. And finally, we're looking at skip the first 2 rows, work 3 rows, and come back here. as you can see, it's doing the plan and then going back to the same point that it started. So it's not going back to the gate, which we had set up over here somewhere. It's going back to where we started. So in that way, you just get a little bit more control over how much work the robot does in the field and where it ends when it finishes. So that hopefully this should mean that you don't have to create lots of plans. Okay, I'm now going to talk about the impact that some of the options of planning have. Here in Aarhus, we have our small test field. We decided to see what would happen if we chose a number of different setups with turning areas on and off. Sorry, with zero turns on and off, and with optimization on and off. We could have run it, of course, with lots of different options, but we decided just to keep these options just so we kind of got a good set of and a good idea of what was happening. So as you can see here in this first small plan, this is with going row by row and with zero turns off. And this is doing row by row, but with zero turns on. Then this is doing optimized with zero turns off, and this is doing optimized with zero turns on. Quite often people are using zero turns as kind of the standard type of turn. However, if there's room on the field to do a normal type of turn, it's often the better option to do a normal type of turn and turn zero turns off. Zero turns are mainly advised for using when we're doing very short turning areas. So if we're under 8-7 meters, something like that, then zero turns are really good and make you be able to do a plan. But if we have 10-12 meters in which we can turn around, then normal turns can sometimes be better. With a normal turn, you don't stop, so you're carrying your momentum, and it's also a little bit better for the soil. Zero turns, because it stops and then turns the wheels, can be quite make some marks in the soil, so you can clearly see where it's driven. So anyway, looking at these plans, going row by row, optimized. So looking at kind of the data that we have, the majority of people are actually running zero turns and row by row. So this would be the most common method. But when we look at then the operation times for this plan, it's actually 17 minutes. And then if we look at the others, well, doing the optimized method with the zero turns saved us 2 minutes off the original. Doing normal turns, but still keeping row by row, saved us 6 minutes off the original, which is approximately about 30%. And then doing optimized and without zero turns saved us the most time, so saved us 7 minutes out of 17. So it's often worth considering if the way that you're doing the operations can be changed to get better outcomes and get a more efficient time. Yeah, I was then going to go on and show some of the advanced plans that some of our other users are working on. So this is one of our advanced users. He's used the planner a lot and really knows some of the tips and tricks to get the plans that he wanted. Here he's creating some plans for a test setup. He's actually driving around a lot of obstacles in a lot of places, so that's why they have the rows set like this. So what he's done, he's been able to create a set of fixed rows and transit rows, so that he can get multiple directions in the same field, all at different spacings. And then he has his field boundary it is one continuous line, but it's kind of going back on itself, so that he's got this hard boundary here that the robot won't cross, and just got a little gate here which the transit rows go in between. So in this way, he's doing a lot of control of how the robot drives around, keeping it within the main field area. But yeah, getting a lot of control. Breaking up these rows here with another transit row, And yeah, so he's worked all these out and can really get some interesting plans here. I was also looking at doing something similar. So in this field, I managed to create a plan that has multiple driving directions. So I was just going to walk through how I did that. So here on my user, I select my field, and then I select my robot, I implement. And the best way to kind of do one of those control plans is by using transit rows and fixed rows. So I'm going to start off with my transit rows. So I want one transit row along the top here and one along here, because I want driving directions in this direction here and driving directions here. And then I want one transit row that's kind of goes along the bottom of the field and goes up here so that I can work this area and then drive into this area. So if I create that. Now, transit rows can be created more accurately. Obviously, if I was driving them close to the thing, but since this is just a demonstration, I am just going to create them by clicking on the map. So say that's my top transit row, and I press plus, and I want another one that goes down this side of the field. And then I want another one that goes along the bottom of the field, and then up. So there are my transit rows. I'm then going to create fixed rows for doing the driving. So if I go to fixed rows and I again go to my create button, and these I will create with the generator. So I have a number of A/B lines in this field already. So I'm going to start off with the west one, which is here. I want my rows to be 3 meter distance, and then I want, say, approximately 20. So that's going to draw the rows across. I think I can get some more on there. So I'll say another 10. I think I can still get some more. So I'll go another 5. It's a bit too many. I can go back. I'll do another 3 instead. Okay. And then I want to put rows in this part of the field as well. So I just choose a different line. And then again, I want them 3 meters apart, but I'll start going from this line instead. So I'll say draw 20. Yeah, I think I can do 20 more. And then maybe 2 more. 2 more. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I can take all of those rows then that I've generated. So there, I've been able to generate fixed rows in 2 different directions in the same field. So if I then if I then choose my starting point, it's just going to be there, and I have a look at my so now perhaps I should have made this transit row a bit longer out to the edge of the field here, so I got the full width of rows. These rows have to end in a transit row. So the rows that were here haven't been created. So I perhaps should have, when I was making my transit row, made it a lot wider. as I'm going to use optimized. And as I'm using transit rows and fixed lines, it's actually best practice to say where my entry and exit are going to be. Because with transit rows not touching the edge of the field, they don't actually touch the gates. So whenever using transit rows, you should specify your entry and exit rows. Just see if we can. This was the one that I made earlier then. So here, as you see, I created the end and exit so that it drives preview that. Yep, so basically it does all of the work, leaving some in this field because it's going to come back to this field anyway, because the closing gate's down here. So it's okay. Let's reset it and you can also use edges of the field to generate your transit rows. So if you mark this top edge as an AB line, then you'd be able to offset that as well to get a good transit row that is right up against that edge. Yes, so I think that's about that. And that covers most of the things that we wanted to share here. So I'd like to throw it out to anybody if they had any questions, either about what we've talked about here today, or about maybe if there's any questions about the release. Hans Christian's here on the line. He might be able to help on some of those. If you either raise your hand or write in the chat, I'll be able to unmute your mics. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting any questions. So Hans Christian, unless you have anything else to say.
No, I think you've been through it all, what we have to present for this season coming up. So yeah. Good.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. Oh, we've just got one hand raised. I'll just just unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
Hello, Garrett. Hello, Hans Christian.
Hello.
We have a question. If we create a plan by fixed rows, also with transit lines, is it also possible to shift an whole plan? So the whole lines, let's say, to the left or right side, to 10 centimeters.
Yes. Well, you can shift a set of fixed rows to one side or the other. If I just share my screen again here.
Because the thing is, just to let you know why we want to do this, we want to seed, and after we want to weed. So, but sometimes after some weeks, when we want to weed, yeah, we need to shift roboty by the option in the display, let's say 5 centimeters to the right side. And when it turns, we need to stop it and then shift it 5 centimeters to the left side. And yeah, that's the game over the whole plan. So it would be very nice when we can just shift a whole created plan to the left or right side to 5 or X centimeters.
Yeah. So Hans Christian, if I'm understanding that right, there wouldn't the nudge.
Yeah,
that's
they're using
the nudge on the terminal.
Yeah, so you want to shift all the lines. We are shifting the robot. That's the difference. So when it turns around, then you're getting the wrong offset. Just a hacky way is that you can have it on your phone, so you can shift it. You don't have to stop the robot. You can shift it around on the phone while it's running, but that's not the right way to do it. We have actually discussed it before with shifting all the lines, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you if I say take this plan. So say this was my plan that I wanted to shift. Then I can just go into edit plan. I can press edit plan here. And so then this is going to take all the settings that I already created and repopulate my planner with them. So plan is already as I created it. Then if I go into advanced options, one second. Yes, they say never do live demonstrations, and I think I know why. Yeah, so we don't currently have that option available at the moment. So like Hans Christian said, the best way would be doing it on your telephone. But I might actually come back later with, because we used to have an option where you could shift the rows here on the website, but that doesn't appear to be there right now. So actually, let me come back to you on that one, and I'll hopefully give you a better answer in a few days.
Yeah, thank you very much. We we already found this option, shift the AB line, but we didn't found it when we choose the option fixed rows.
Right. Well, it should be there for fixed rows as well. So I will hunt that down and make sure it's put back on the website. And I'll let you know when I've done that. But yeah, sorry about that. But thank you for raising it.
Yeah. And I think the problem in field, if you want to shift all lines, you need to recalculate the whole field, right, Garrett?
Yes. Yeah.
Because today we're just shifting the robot, then it doesn't need to recalculate the field, then it's just running with an offset. But if we were to shift all lines, it needed to recalculate all connections, right?
Yes, that's correct.
That's why it's a little bit of a problem. Maybe.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
But as well, it's always really nice when people throw those kind of questions at us, because it might be that it's something that we've overlooked or a new feature that we can easily add. So please don't hesitate to throw some of those questions at us, or Hans Christian via email, if there's anything you need help with there. So Tim, sorry, I'll just unmute you as well so you can ask your question. Yes, so Tim, you should be able to ask your question now. If you unmute.
I think it's working now.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah, I have a question about we have this deadfall sprayer, and I have troubling how to program it in like on the website, because like what I can see, I can only control the hydraulic, and I don't want to like the pressure being off when I'm turning around in the corners. But you don't want to spray when I'm turning around, but if I turn off the hydraulic, I have to wait up to build pressure again, or how does it work with the sprayer and the robot?
Yeah. Okay, I can take that, Tim. I will call you after this seminar because it's a one-off sprayer, so we can discuss it directly. I will call
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, cool. Yeah, well, thank you very much for everyone that attended today and over the last few months. And hopefully we can have a few more of these sessions going forwards. We don't know exactly what the plan is going to be with them going forwards, but we'll let you know as soon as we kind of have a plan of what we're going to do and we've really evaluated kind of how these sessions have worked. Okay, well, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.